My husband and I saved for years to build a home recording studio. We soundproofed everything. Worked only on weekends. Our neighbor said, "This noise is killing me." Even though she couldn't hear a thing. Then the HOA got involved. Then the zoning department. One day I came home and found a red sticker on our door, "Condemned." She'd submitted dozens of complaints, each signed by anonymous residents. But I recognized her handwriting. From the Christmas card she sent us last year. I'm not someone who holds grudges. Or at least, I wasn't. Until Marge. My husband Mike and I worked for over 10 years to build the life we wanted. We both had steady but average-paying jobs. He worked IT help desk at a medical billing company, and I was in event coordination for a small hotel chain. We weren't poor, but we weren't flush with cash either. Every bit we saved took discipline. We skipped vacations. Ate cheap. Used our tax returns wisely. Every dollar we could spare went toward one goal: building a professional home recording studio. Mike was into music production and mixing. I sang backup vocals and did voiceover gigs, training videos, podcasts, even a few audiobook chapters. We dreamed of doing it full-time. In 2022, we finally bought a small home on the edge of Arlington, Texas. Nothing fancy. One-story, detached garage, just over a quarter acre. It had what we needed, a place to build our studio without disturbing anyone. Or so we thought. The garage was old but solid. We turned it into a fortress over 18 months. Every weekend, we worked like dogs, insulating walls, hanging double drywall with green glue, adding acoustic panels, sealing every crack, decoupling the ceiling joists. We watched hours of YouTube videos and read audio engineering forums. We did it right. When we finished, the room was dead quiet inside and out. We tested with decibel meters. Standing outside, you couldn't hear a thing unless the door was wide open. It was the kind of soundproofing professional studios would charge thousands for. And we'd done it all ourselves. We were excited. We started taking clients, just a few at first. Local rappers. Indie musicians. A guy who narrated YouTube documentaries. We never had more than one car in the driveway at a time. Never late at night. Always respectful. Then came Marge. Marge lived 2 doors down. Retired. Short gray hair. Neat flower beds. Always wearing that tight smile like she was holding in a fart. We thought she was just a nosy neighbor. She'd wave but never talk long. Once, she gave us banana bread and a Christmas card, cursive writing, glitter pen, a little too formal. 3 weeks after we started using the studio, she showed up at our door. "I don't know what kind of factory you're running," she said, "but the noise is unbearable." I stared at her. "You mean, the studio?" She nodded like she'd caught us red-handed. "It shakes my pictures. My dog hides under the table." Mike and I exchanged a look. We hadn't even recorded anything that day. "We're completely soundproofed," Mike said. "We did tests. You can't hear anything outside the room." She squinted at us like we were lying. "Well, I hear it. And if I do, others do too." We tried to be polite. Offered to show her how it was built. Invited her to see for herself. She refused. Said it wasn't her job to fix our mistakes. We thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, we got a letter from the HOA. Noise complaints. Property use violation. Anonymous reports saying we were running a commercial business out of a residential home. Then we got one from the city zoning office. Same thing. Same language. Multiple complaints. Unlicensed operation. Suspected non-compliant construction. All anonymous. At first we were confused. Then annoyed. Then suspicious. The third letter from the HOA mentioned unpermitted structural changes. It was absurd. The garage had never needed a permit for interior work. But someone was stirring up trouble. I pulled out the Christmas card Marge sent us last year. And there it was. Same writing. Same elegant cursive. Same long swoopy Y's and the heart-shaped dot over her lowercase I. No doubt in my mind. She'd written every one of those anonymous complaints herself. I showed Mike. He clenched his jaw and said, "She's trying to get us shut down." We responded to every letter. Sent photos, sound readings, blueprints. Even client testimonials. We tried to meet with the zoning officer. Carl, his name was. Young guy. Nice enough. He said, "Look, between you and me, I believe you. But with this many complaints coming in, my supervisor says it's out of our hands now." We offered to bring in an independent inspector. He shrugged and said, "Might help. But if this keeps escalating, the city may act on its own." More letters followed. Then came the fine. $1,500 for zoning violations. We appealed. Lost. Then came the worst day. I came home from work. It was a Thursday. I was tired. Walked up to the front door and saw a bright red sticker right on it. Condemned, in big black letters. My heart dropped. I thought maybe it was a mistake. I called the city. They said we'd made unpermitted structural changes. That it was now labeled unsafe for occupancy. They said we had to cease all activity in the studio or face daily penalties. I hung up the phone and just stood there, shaking. That's when I saw Marge across the street, watering her petunias like nothing happened. She looked over at me. Smiled. "Guess it'll be quieter now," she said. No emotion. No shame. Just satisfaction. She didn't just want peace. She wanted us gone. She wanted to ruin us. I didn't say a word. I walked inside. I sat down at the kitchen table. And I started thinking. I thought about the lies she told. The months we spent working. The money we invested. The time. The dreams. And then I started writing things down. Not dreams this time. Plans. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the red sticker on the door through the window. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Marge's smug little smile. Mike wanted to talk legal options. "We can fight this," he said. "Hire a lawyer, go after the city, maybe even sue her for harassment." But I knew how that would go. We'd spend money we didn't have chasing a woman with too much time and nothing to lose. She'd lie, twist things, make herself the victim. And at the end of it all, we'd be deeper in debt and still studio-less. No. That wasn't the way. I needed something better. Something that would make her feel the same slow, creeping pain she gave us. Not illegal. Not loud. Just thorough. The next day, I called out of work. Drove straight to the Tarrant County Clerk's office and pulled property records. I found her house, dug through old permits, zoning info, even past complaints. It was all public record. Her house was built in 1964. 2 bedrooms. 1.5 baths. Attached sunroom, converted into a reading space. But here's the thing, that sunroom wasn't listed on the original blueprints. No permits filed for the conversion. No structural inspection on record. She'd remodeled without telling the city. Just like she accused us of doing. It was exactly what I needed. I started small. I created a new email account. I used a VPN, fake name, all of it. I sent one email to the HOA with pictures I took of her backyard, cracked retaining wall, a rusted fence leaning into the public sidewalk, unpermitted planter boxes pushing the boundary line. Then I sent one to the city zoning department, concerned local. Mentioned that a neighbor had added livable square footage to a structure without permits. Asked if someone might want to check for safety violations. 2 weeks later, an inspector came by while she was out. He left a notice on her door. I watched from my kitchen window. The next day, she came stomping down our driveway. "You think this is funny?" she yelled. I didn't flinch. "I have no idea what you're talking about. You sent someone to my house." I raised my eyebrows. "You mean like you did to us?" Her face turned red. She looked like she wanted to slap me. But she didn't. She turned and walked away, muttering something I couldn't hear. A week later, she got a fine. Then a letter. Then a second inspection. The city said her sunroom violated residential code and wasn't properly insulated or supported. She could either tear it down or pay for full reinspection and permits. It wasn't cheap. That was just the beginning. I filed a noise complaint. Anonymous, of course, about her wind chimes, which rang all night during storms. I said they kept my kids up. "We don't have kids." She had to take them down. I reported her yard lights for being too bright, light pollution, I called it. I even took a photo with the contrast turned way up and sent it in. Then I contacted the county about possible pest violations. Said I saw raccoons climbing in her gutters, which was technically true once last fall. The city came out and cited her for unsecured trash bins. She stopped smiling after that. But I wasn't done. Because the most satisfying thing I did? That came later. Mike and I had a friend in the music world, Lorenzo. Chill guy, real quiet, real smart. He worked with a group that offered studio space in the city. They'd just acquired a commercial spot near downtown Arlington. And they were looking for part-time staff to help run sessions. I talked to him. Explained what we'd built. What had happened. He offered us a deal, partner with them. Use our experience. Even rebuild some of our old setup in their space. We'd have a real studio. In a zone where Marge couldn't touch us. Where the city encouraged this kind of work. And here's the kicker, I added her name and address to a few targeted ad lists through an online data site. Nothing shady, just stuff old people hate, home security systems, solar panel installers, roofing companies. The kind that knock 3 times a week and never take her off the list. It was petty. But it worked. One morning, I saw her yelling at a guy in a vest holding a clipboard on her porch. "I've already told you people, stop coming here." I sipped my coffee and smiled. She didn't report us anymore after that. But that's not the end. Because 3 months later, something happened that neither of us saw coming. 3 months passed. By then, we were working full-time out of the new studio space Lorenzo helped us set up. It wasn't the same as our garage, we still missed the convenience, the feeling of it being ours, but it was solid. Soundproofed. Fully legal. And busy. We picked up more clients than ever. Musicians, podcasters, even a few ad agencies needing quick turnarounds. Business was growing. Slowly but steadily, we were bouncing back. Marge stayed quiet. No more comments. No more fake smiles. She didn't even look our way when she passed. We thought maybe it was done. We thought maybe she learned her lesson. But people like Marge don't learn. She strikes again when you least expect it. One Monday afternoon, Mike pulled up an email from the Arlington Business Licensing Office. It was short but serious. It said someone had filed a formal complaint accusing our new studio of failing to meet accessibility codes. They claimed our space had no wheelchair ramp, no marked disabled parking, and that we were openly discriminating against individuals with mobility challenges. We were stunned. Lorenzo had already dealt with the city during the build-out. The ramp was there. The accessible restroom was there. We had everything on record. This was another fake complaint, but it forced an inspection anyway. We had to shut down for 3 days while the city came through. It didn't take long to figure out who did it. A local sound engineer we knew, Josh, called Mike. Said he ran into Marge at a community yard sale and overheard her talking to someone, bragging about getting the studio shut down again and how they don't deserve to succeed after what they did to me. What we did to her? That was the moment I stopped thinking of her as petty. She was obsessed. A woman who couldn't stand the idea of us doing well. I knew I had to hit her where it would actually hurt, her reputation. Her social comfort zone. The bubble she built for herself in this neighborhood. And I knew just how to do it. See, Marge was part of a neighborhood beautification committee. Every month, they hosted little events, garden tours, patio contests, clean street awards. It was mostly older residents with too much free time, but it mattered to her. She ran their Facebook page. She chaired the spring flower showcase. She was their queen bee. So I got creative. I made a new account. Fake name. Joined their Facebook group. Pretended to be a new resident named Sheila. Friendly. Curious. Loved what Marge had done for the neighborhood. It didn't take long before the private messages started. From other members. Turns out, not everyone liked Marge. Some had butted heads with her. Said she ran the committee like a dictatorship. That she shut down ideas, hoarded responsibilities, and made people feel small. I waited until the spring showcase announcement was posted online. And then I dropped the bomb. Sheila posted a long, carefully written story about how Marge bullied a young couple over a small backyard band practice. How she lied to the city and used anonymous complaints to get their studio condemned. How she bragged about it later and laughed when they lost money. I didn't name myself. I didn't name Mike. I just told the story. I attached photos. Screenshots of complaint letters with matching handwriting. Snaps of her yard violations. Even a side-by-side of the Christmas card and one of her fake anonymous notes. Then I logged out. 2 days later, the post had over 80 comments. People were angry. Some defended her. Most didn't. A few admitted they'd suspected her of doing similar things to others in the neighborhood. One guy said she tried to report him for leaving his trash bin out 10 minutes too long. By the end of the week, she was removed from the group. By the end of the month, the committee voted her out entirely. She was no longer chair. No longer in charge of events. No longer loved. And she knew I did it. She couldn't prove it. But one morning, I was in the front yard cutting dead branches off our hedges, and I saw her walk by on her usual route. She stopped. Looked at me. "You think you're clever," she said. I didn't even look up. "I know what you are," she hissed. I smiled. "So do I." She walked away. But I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. Because just when she thought it couldn't get worse, something happened that would change everything. Not to her. To us. And it made me realize the fight wasn't over. It was just getting started. 3 months after Marge was booted from the committee, life was starting to feel normal again. The studio downtown was running smoother than ever. Mike and I were finally able to quit our day jobs and go full-time. We were booked weeks in advance. Even started mentoring younger artists and techs who wanted to learn. The best part? We were doing it the right way, zoned, licensed, inspected, and out of Marge's reach. Or so we thought. Then one day, in early October, we got a letter from the IRS. Apparently, someone had filed a report claiming we were underreporting business income. That we were pocketing cash and using off-the-books labor. The letter didn't accuse us, exactly. It was just informing us we'd been flagged and might be audited. Mike sat there in shock. I stood at the kitchen counter with the paper shaking in my hand. "She's trying to destroy us again," he said. I nodded. "She can't stop. She won't stop." I took a deep breath. This ends now. That weekend, I sat down and wrote everything out, every complaint, every letter, every note. I gathered all the screenshots, the property record discrepancies, the HOA minutes, the city violation logs. I included pictures of the sunroom she built illegally, quotes from neighbors, and even the complaint that matched her handwriting exactly. Then I did the one thing I knew she couldn't stand. I turned it into a story. I made a blog, anonymous, of course. Called it When the Quiet Ones Turn Loud. It was simple, just the facts, written like a timeline. No hate speech. No threats. Just a record of everything she'd done to sabotage us. It went semi-viral in our community. A local real estate group picked it up, then a neighborhood newsletter. People started talking. Then came the best part, a woman named Allison Marks messaged us. She used to be Marge's tenant. Said she rented a back room from her years ago. Said Marge forced her to move out after she complained about mold in the walls. Allison had photos. Mold, rats, unsafe wiring. She'd tried to report it back then, but Marge pressured her into silence. I helped her write a full report and connected her with a housing advocate. A week later, Arlington's Code Compliance Division showed up at Marge's house with 2 trucks and a clipboard. They didn't just find violations. They found exposed wiring in the attic. Water damage behind the illegal sunroom. No smoke detectors. No ventilation in her enclosed garage, which she'd converted into a reading den. The house was flagged as uninhabitable until repairs could be completed. Repairs she couldn't afford. She had to move out temporarily. Into a motel on Division Street. The same woman who had our studio condemned? Her own house was now the one condemned. And we didn't lie. We didn't forge a thing. We just told the truth. The final twist came a month later. We were at a community event, an open mic hosted by one of our clients, when Mike nudged me. Look who's here. Marge. She looked different. Smaller somehow. No makeup. Loose sweater. She sat alone at the back, sipping water and staring at the stage. She didn't talk to anyone. After the show, I walked outside to get air. She followed me out. I lost everything, she said quietly. I said nothing. She looked at me with glassy eyes. Why'd you do it? You started it, I said. You lied. You harassed us. You nearly broke us. She opened her mouth. Then closed it. She looked down at her hands. I didn't think you'd fight back. I looked her straight in the eyes. Then you never should have picked this fight. She walked away. And that was it. Marge moved out a month later. Sold the house to a young couple expecting twins. We sent them banana bread and a Christmas card. Handwritten. In perfect cursive.